Hey everybody, Mike here. I've got a new tool on the bench today that just came in. This is one that was sent to me to review and tell you guys what I think about it. I really like the idea of this when they offered it to me, and I'll explain to you why here in just a minute. So let's get this thing out of the box here real quick. I'll show you what I got. This company makes this line of tools here to be able to be used with a Dewalt battery lineup. There's pros and cons to going this route. I do feel like there's a place in the market for this. Here's what you got here in the box. This is a 1/2-inch impact wrench. So this will fit on any of your Dewalt 20-volt battery lineup stuff, like you see there. The reason I say that there's a place in the market for this is some of the Dewalt tools, especially when you get into these 1/2-inch impacts, they can be kind of pricey. Now they are worth it, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to mishear me here. They are worth it, but not everybody has the budget to be able to add on to the lineup like that. Maybe you've already got that 20-volt Dewalt drill and a couple batteries. So this is where this comes into play. This 20-volt impact here is going to come in at under half the cost of what a Dewalt 1/2-inch would be. There is some cons to that as well. With the lower price, you're also going to have lower numbers when it comes to what it's capable of doing. Where your 20-volt Dewalt impact will run roughly, let's just say around 350 on your fastening torque. In reverse, you might be seeing 450 foot-pounds of torque. This one here is only going to have around 250 in the forward and around 280 foot-pounds in reverse. So your numbers are lower as well. But once again, not everybody needs those high numbers. They just want an impact to be able to tool around. Your modern consumer that's putting furniture together in the garage may not need all 400 foot-pounds of torque on that impact. That's where this comes into place. It comes in at an extremely attractive price point. Now, I can't speak to longevity or reliability on this thing yet. What I can tell you is it does not feel any different in my hand as far as the weight and the grip go than my Dewalt does. So right out of the box, it does not feel any different than your main brand Dewalt stuff does. When it comes to hooking up to your battery and actually operating, you've got 3 speeds in your forward, and then when you go into reverse, this does have a really cool feature that I'm anxious to try out, because if you set this in reverse and you push your red button here, it puts it in auto stop. Now, if you're not familiar with auto stop is, which I wasn't either when I first got this, I had to look it up. When you're running a nut or a bolt back out and backing it out in reverse, this feature is designed to be able to basically sense when that nut's getting to the end of the thread. It's basically sensing how hard it's working. When the load on the impact wrench starts to go to 0, this will auto break itself and stop, and that's kind of to help keep from losing your nut or flinging it across your garage on you because you didn't know it was off the threads already. So I think that's kind of a neat feature. I'm anxious to play with that and see how well that actually works. In your forward speed, you can hit your button here and you've got 3 different speeds. Each speed operates at a different torque setting. So when you're on level 1, it's 130 foot-pounds, level 2 is 170 foot-pounds, and your 3rd speed is at 250 foot-pounds of torque. You've got a little bit of adjustability on there as well when it comes to that. When we start talking about the light feature that's included on this, it does have a light. It's not going to be as bright as your Dewalt lights that have the 3 around the ring like you see. I do find this light to be useful on this as well. And like I said, once again, when we're talking about a budget, like more of a value style tool, and then you're also able to use it with the Dewalt batteries you've already got, I think you can kind of overlook a few of these things here, in my opinion anyways. Now, the other thing this comes with is a belt clip, just like your Dewalt tools would have. Now, when it comes to this belt clip, I finally got it on there. If I had to gripe about one thing on this impact, it's going to be this clip. On your Dewalt tools, they've got a little brass insert or whatnot that they put inside the plastic, and you just thread that in and it's no problem at all. That little lock nut they put inside the lip here, that was a pretty big pain to get in there and get that threaded in. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I got it on there. It seems like it's going to hold all right. It's got a little bit of movement compared to like what the Dewalt stuff has. But take that for what it's worth. That doesn't really affect the function at all. It's more of just a creature comfort that we've all gotten used to on all of our tools these days. So I'm not going to knock it too bad for that, but I do want you to be aware of that. Let's go ahead and put this thing to the test and see what we've got going with it. So the first thing I want to try out is this reverse function. So I got the switch here in reverse. Hit that to where that light there is illuminated, which it is. When we run this nut out, it should sense when it's done taking off the threads and stop itself. And it did. So I kind of like that feature. It kind of keeps you from flinging your nut across the shop unnecessarily. Let's go ahead and run this nut back down on here. So I'll switch my speed over. Go ahead and put it in the 3rd speed and lock this down. Now the next thing I want to try is I want to run a 3/8 lag into this wood without a pre-drilled hole. See how it handles it going into a 2x4. So let's go ahead and try that, see how that works out. So it passed the test. I can definitely tell you there's a little bit of a speed difference between this and my Dewalt when you're driving that lag in without a pre-drilled hole. That's where the torque numbers come into play. It's not going to have quite the power that the Dewalt does to be able to drive it in there, but it's still got it in there. So nonetheless, it passed the test. So overall, my initial impressions after run this through a few scenarios and playing with this for a few minutes, I still stand by my opinion from the beginning of the video. I think this is a great value option to go with, especially if you're already in the Dewalt lineup. If you need a few more tools for your lineup and you're trying to save a few bucks, check out this 1/2-inch impact. As long as you've got reasonable expectations going into it, I think you'll be pretty happy with this unit.